It's September 21st, 2025. I just finished watching the Charlie Kirk funeral. I heard Trump speak. I heard Erica speak. It's a terrible thing. Like, the behavior that's been conducted by so many different people celebrating what happened to him is heinous. I think whoever did this, and whether they have the sole person that did it, or there's an entire group connected that led and encouraged this person to commit the heinous crime that they did, I hope they're all punished, and it's terrible. At the end of the day, regardless of your religion or your belief system or your faith or all of those three things put together, those two kids and that wife will never have that human being back. And I hope faith carries them through. I think it's terrible, the behavior we're conducting to one another. It's not just one side, though one side is being overly radical and extreme. It's as if we're not listening to each other. Sometimes it seems like we're saying the same thing, just in different words, or maybe we just don't want to listen and we want our emotions and our outrage to be heard, even though at the end of the day, if we sat down and talked, if people just listened to Charlie Kirk, you'd know he's not a radical and you'd probably be his friend. I think as much as you disagree with that human being, you'd probably find more in common with him than you ever would with me. I'm a lot more abrasive as a human being. I don't understand how anybody could do anything so horrible, unless it's just evidently social engineering that's creating this hate and this divide to one another. Now, outside of what I just said, I think one thing that popped out to me is what Trump was talking about, that he and RFK have in store for tomorrow. I'm assuming there's going to be an announcement, a White House announcement on September 22nd, and they're going to talk about connections to autism. I'm assuming this is connected to the vaccine, or vaccines, plural. It's not something we can directly talk about because every time you mention the V word, it stops allowing the algorithm to have messages sent out and getting more views. I'm not saying I'm correct. I'm not necessarily saying I need to be heard, but I've noticed on any channel when certain words are said, messages don't get out. With that said, I think it'll be interesting, the data and the connections they show that could connect early childhood vaccines with autism. I know a couple weeks ago, I saw studies that mentioned that African American males, when they got all of their vaccines early in childhood, they were over 100 times more likely to get or have signs of autism later in life. This is a very tender subject. I don't want to speak on it as if I'm some doctor and I understand all aspects, but there have to be certain ties in with their autoimmune system, just the way the body reacts to all of this. The terrible thing is that even though there is going to be data showing this, probably 50% of the population is going to freak out just because it's coming from the Trump administration. But at the end of the day, I think this whole government needs to rework so much, especially from the foundation, especially for the kids, not just with education, but with health. We need to look towards our future, and if we want to survive as a country, as people, as a culture, as a community, we really have to see what we're doing. And a lot of the things we have been doing have been extremely financially incentivized. And because of these incentives, we've overlooked a lot of harm we've done to our children, our country. I hope in some ways we can take it back. I'm not telling you Trump is the end-all be-all that's going to figure all of this out. But regardless of the side you stand on, you need to listen and take a time with an open mind to see, is there something to the ties they're going to proclaim to autism later in life? We need to figure out what's going on, because 1 in 12 children having autism is way too high, extremely high. Something's going on, something unnatural.